anyone who doesn't know what we do, so we're a global capital markets-based software company. We also do asset management, wealth management solutions. Sometimes people like to differentiate them. So we build solutions and products for those markets. Clearing houses, hedge funds, prime brokers, globally, with offices in London and in New York. How does Genesis work? So we were from the industry. 7 years ago, we started to build our own framework based on the concept of microservices. So what we do is we have this underlying framework. We built a number of business components, which we leverage. We have a number of tools that we've built as well to ultimately produce low-code and no-code solutions. When you combine those things, it ends up resulting in a software solution which could be specific to our client or could be a product for the market, again, which is abstracted the complexity away of a microservices-based solution. It's not just a server-side solution, it's also a client-side solution. And when we demo, we're going to quickly go through our web components, web API, and the tooling we have. And really where we start with a business opportunity. It could be a legacy technology constraint or a brand new business opportunity. And 3.5 years ago, we had no products. But we were using the framework to build either specific solutions for clients or actually keep the IP and actually take that as products. We have some of our clients today here. We built real-time margining platforms for our clients, and then we keep the IP for that, all the way through to settlement clearing systems, post-trade allocation and confirmation platforms as well. Everything's built on the framework. We do not build anything not on that framework. Next slide. What is that framework? I won't bore you with too much. I think the most important thing is it's a server-side framework, high availability, clustered, horizontal scalability, lots of things done with integration, FPML APIs, fixed APIs, but also lots of technical APIs, everything from Google Protocol Buffer, REST, SOAP, etc. And what's probably most interesting to the audience here is it also includes a client. So 7 years ago, we invested heavily into the rich client. We wrapped up Dev Express controls so that you could easily configure one of those grids to point to one of those microservices. And where we've been investing heavily over the last 2 to 3 years is all of our web API. We have a web framework above that, and then also a lot of stuff with OpenFin now as well, which we're gonna demo to you guys. Obviously, I always OpenFin. It's always there. On top of that, if you imagine the next layer is all of the business components. So we have these business components which can be used for a specific solution for our client or can be used to build a product. And if you imagine that, so we've got all of these microservices, design patterns, authorization, clustering, DevOps, business components, the products. And then what we're going to drill on today is this development acceleration tools. And we're going to specifically talk about the Creative Studio UI tool for the web and OpenFin applications. And when you combine all of those things, you're starting a much further down the pipeline with where your goal is, whether or not we have a product and it's even easier to integrate, or if clients come to us and say, hey, we want to build a real-time margining platform, for instance. So what we're going to demo now is Creative Studio. In New York, we show Creative Studio as a single web page application. This is actually Creative Studio running as an OpenFin application. What we're going to do is we're going to point to one of our environments. So we're going to build a complete web OpenFin application using this. And we're pointing to an environment, a product we have called TAM. And TAM is our post-trade multi-asset class allocation confirmation platform. So I pointed to the environment, just using the UI. I'm going to rename what this is. We're going to trade allocation module. Over the left-hand side here, we've got groups of components that we can build. We're specifically going to call one here Fin.js. Nice simple grid. So what this is going to do is, and we're going to talk later that there's lots of UI components we're wrapping into this as well, and we're going to demo some of this. So that's simple. We've pointed to environment. Creative Studio is running in OpenFin with all of the benefits of multi-windows. So right, great. What we want to do now is we're going to create a dashboard. This dashboard is going to be 2 grids. It's going to be a grid for all of our trades. We go off to this environment. All of the metadata from the server is telling us what microservices are available, what data servers are available. These are all of the different microservices which are available. We're going to choose all trades. That's going to bring back all trades within the platform. There we go. Nothing groundbreaking there. We're going to add another view on that. So this view this time is going to be all allocations. And what we want to do is obviously something very simple. Click on a trade. It's going to filter all of the allocations there within the platform. Now, obviously, these could be all different separate grids. And we're going to show some of that in a second. So we're going to configure this view now, and what we want to do is publish an event between one of the grid and the other grid to actually say, hey, filter, please actually pick up an event that a mouse click event's happened. Get the context of the row. You can also just pick certain cells, which you may have there, and publish this out. And we're going to say to the other grid, listen to this event. We're going to call it FDC3. And what the criteria is, well, when we want to get the trade ID of whatever's clicked. So, same thing again. When that's sending a filter, that's not filtering on the client side. That's actually filtering all the way over to the server. So the server's managing what the IP address is, who the user is, what they're filtering on, etc. Okay, we want to add a search, nice and easy. So same thing again. We're going to do instrument ID. We're also going to select symbol as well. That's going to create a little search field here. And off the back of that, I can filter anything. Again, it's server-side filtering. It's not client-side on the grid. There's quite a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes there. We've got our technical team here. They're much better than I am, and with all the technical details to run through some of the fun stuff we do on the back end. And then we're going to do something very simple, to be honest. We're just going to take some of those columns, modify those columns, and show how you can do that within the tool. So we're going to sit here and say, right, we want to edit one of those columns. We can add formatting conditions. You can actually go in and do the editing there within the platform yourself. Here, we're just going to change the color when it's fully allocated. We're going to change that to be green, because we think that's good. And then we're going to, you can now, we're going to change the text to be blue. Definitely not good UI standards here. The UI consulting firms will kill us. So what we're going to do there is nice and simple. The fully allocated is all being color green, and we are good to go. Now what can we do? Now what we want to do is we want to download that project. Well, we've done that stuff in no code. There's lots more other stuff to Creative Studio. But what we do is we can download that project now, which is going to give you stuff which is all OpenFin ready. And there's all TypeScript, JavaScript down the likes. We're just going to unzip this. And what we go is we can now go and play with that code if we wanted to. So what we're going to add now is we actually are going to add a view within that. You can open this up in your editor of choice. And you'll see all of the underlying codes there. So we're focusing very much on no code, both on the UI and the server. But we want to give everyone the flexibility to be able to do low code, and if you want to call it medium code, of being able to develop, but go at any level you want. We're not forcing you into a black box solution as such. So this with the formatting conditions, you'll see the message. We're going to scroll down now as well. You're going to see the message events which were there as well. So what you can do is you can start editing that and playing with that also. Now, FDC3. Everyone's obviously talking about FDC3, so we should talk about it as well. We don't want to be left out. So what we could do there is, in Creative Studio, we can actually say this is an FDC3 message, and we want to actually publish that message out, or, as we're showing now, you actually can go and actually code that as well. So the intent is a view chart. We've got the FDC3 context of the object. What do we want to do? Well, we want to publish the security. Before I went, you would see that there's the instrument message formats there. So what we're going to do is we're now going to load this back up. We're going to this is running the application now. So this is not Creative Studio. This is the application actually running. We've built our own dashboard here where you can do favorites, add things, minimize, etc. So what we've done is now we've added some custom code to that as such. We've built the UI, and what we're going to now do is actually just see that working, which is what you're seeing working right now. So that was the display we set up. Now what we can do is we can get all of the benefits of OpenFin, of open up these windows, all of the snapping and docking, all of the layout management, all of that's being controlled and done here. Again, all the things everyone's familiar with in terms of OpenFin. All of that filtering is there working as well. We can undock that, and then we can resize, and we're going to close this down. What we've also done, throw this back into the screen. Where are we investing more time now? So this is the FDC3. So we're selecting that now. That event is not only filtering the allocations and trades, it's actually sitting there and sending out a message across the FDC3 wire, if you want to call it that. And that's just a grid, right? Those are just grids. So what we have there is we've got a number of visual components in our web framework and within a Creative Studio to do things like cards. So obviously we've got a number of unallocated, how many trades were allocated, what's been fully allocated. Okay, we've got we're under covers, this is AM chart. We've wrapped those up. You can also put your custom components there. We've got a completely free layout, so if you wanted a single web page application, or you're doing this with an open thing as well. So we're investing heavily into the components around the platform and around the framework. But the most important thing is the tooling, which allows you to build those things extremely quickly. And we're very focused on time to market, agility, and commoditizing some of those things as well. I overrun. I was getting bad looks from Mitra, so I was getting bad looks from Mitra, sorry. So yeah, obviously, guys, thanks for your time. We're at the back, so feel free to stop over and ask us any questions. Really appreciate it.